Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I want to talk to you today about something that has the power to transform your life completely: wealth. But I'm not just talking about money in the bank, although that's part of it. I'm talking about wealth in the broader sense: wealth of time, wealth of relationships, wealth of character. You see, wealth isn't something you pursue. Wealth is something you attract by the person you become. That's what this message is all about: becoming the kind of person who not only earns more, but becomes more. I want to give you some rules, not tricks or secrets, but solid, timeless rules that, if followed, can build real wealth. These are principles I've lived by, taught around the world, and seen transform thousands of lives. Let's start with rule number 1. Rule 1: learn more to earn more. The first rule to building wealth is simple and powerful. If you want to earn more, you must learn more. Now, someone might say, "Jim, I work hard already." That's good. But here's the truth. It's not just the hard work that pays off. It's what you learn while you work, and even more, what you learn after work. Formal education can make you a living, but self-education, that can make you a fortune. You've got to become a student of your own life, a student of success, a student of wealth. Don't just go through the day. Get from the day. Some people stop learning the moment they leave school, and they wonder why their income stays the same year after year. But if you'll develop the habit of reading, listening, observing, you will gain what I call refined knowledge. And refined knowledge is leverage. Leverage is how one person can do 10 times what another does with the same amount of time. It's how you move from labor to leadership, from paycheck to prosperity. Now let me give you an example. Early in my career, I was broke. Broke! I had pennies in my pocket, nothing in the bank, and creditors at the door. But then I heard something that changed my life. A mentor said to me, "For things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better." So I started reading, listening, learning. I devoured every book on wealth, productivity, personal development I could find, not because someone told me to, but because I had decided to invest in myself. It didn't take long for the results to show. Within a year, my income had tripled. Not because the economy changed, not because my job changed, but because I changed. So here's a question. What are you learning right now that's going to double your income in the next year? What are you reading? Who are you listening to? What skills are you sharpening? You see, if you don't make time for learning, you'll eventually be forced to make time for struggle. Learning gives you options. Options give you power. And power gives you the ability to build the life you want, not just the life you're handed. Let's talk about value. The marketplace rewards value, not time. If you want to earn more, increase your value. And how do you increase your value? You guessed it, by learning more. If you're a janitor and you learn how to lead a team of janitors, you've increased your value. If you're a barista and you learn customer service, inventory, marketing, suddenly you're not just a barista, you're a business builder. That's value. Now let's be clear. I'm not saying money is the only measurement of wealth, but I am saying that money is a result, and the result flows from your value. You bring more value, you get more results. So, rule number 1, learn more to earn more. Make learning a daily habit. Just 30 minutes a day can change your income, your mindset, your life. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. And the fastest way to become more? Learn more. We'll stop here for now. In the next part, we'll go deeper into Rule 2. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. One of the most powerful concepts I ever learned, and one that changed the course of my life. Rule 2. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Let me tell you something that changed the course of my entire life. One day, my mentor, Earl Schoaf, looked me in the eyes and said, "Jim, if you want to have more, you have to become more. And if you want to change your income, you must first change yourself." He paused, then he said, "Jim, work harder on yourself than you do on your job." Now that hit me like a bolt of lightning. You see, up to that point, I was working hard. I was doing all I could to please my boss, to get by, to survive. But I was ignoring the most important project of all, me. From that moment on, I started a brand new habit. I became a builder, not of buildings, not of businesses, but of my own character, my own mind, my own capacity. And that single shift, that new focus, it turned my life around. So let me say it to you now, just like my mentor said it to me. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Because here's the truth. You don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you bring to the hour. Your job is to make yourself more valuable. And that happens through personal growth. Let's break it down. Let's say you're making $15 an hour. That's what the marketplace has decided your current value is based on your skills, your knowledge, your ability to solve problems. But what if you learned something new, a high-value skill? What if you became better at communication, negotiation, leadership? What if you read a book that changed the way you think? What if you took a course or studied a mentor? Suddenly, your value increases, and the marketplace, which is always fair in the long run, starts to reflect that. That's why I say your income rarely exceeds your personal development. The library. Over the living room. When I was broke, I had a TV in every room. But when I became wealthy, I replaced one of those TVs with a library. Why? Because I realized entertainment is temporary, but education is permanent. I started filling my mind with books that inspired me, challenged me, shaped me. I studied business, philosophy, psychology, sales, communication, time management. I listened to audio tapes, went to seminars, took notes like my future depended on it, because it did. So I ask you, what does your personal development routine look like? Do you read 30 minutes a day? Do you listen to audio while driving or walking? Do you reflect on your habits, your goals, your growth? Because here's what I know. If you do what most people won't, you'll live like most people can't. Your job makes a living. You make a life. Your job may help you pay the bills, but it's who you become that determines whether you stay broke, survive, or thrive. Too many people wait for their job to improve before they improve themselves, but that's backward. Want a better job? Become a better person. Want a better salary? Develop better skills? Want a better team? Become a better leader. Don't wish for less problems. Develop more skills. Don't wish for easier times. Build greater wisdom. Don't ask for fewer challenges. Ask for more strength. The greatest investment you'll ever make is not in stocks, crypto, or real estate. It's in yourself. A story to remember. I remember meeting a young man after one of my seminars. He said, "Jim, I want to be a millionaire." I said, "That's great. Who do you have to become to earn $1 million?" He looked confused. So I said, "You see, the goal isn't the money. The goal is the growth. Because if you become the kind of person who can earn $1 million, you can lose it and get it back. But if you haven't grown, you'll lose it and never get it again." The money is a byproduct of the mindset. So what are you doing each day to grow your mindset, to expand your thinking, to stretch your imagination? Because success is not to be pursued. It's to be attracted by the person you become. Final thought. So remember, don't just show up at work, show up in your life. Don't just work a job, Work on yourself. Take 30 minutes each day and make yourself better. Because the most powerful tool you'll ever have in your wealth building journey is you. Rule 3. Don't spend more than you make now. Here's a rule that sounds so simple, and yet it's broken by millions every single day. Don't spend more than you make. Let me tell you something my mentor Earl Schoaf once said to me, and I'll never forget it. He said, "Jim, it's not the amount of money you earn that matters. It's what you do with it." That was another light bulb moment for me. Because the truth is, you can make a fortune and still be broke if you don't respect the money that comes into your life. You see, there are two parts to financial freedom: making money and keeping money. You can't have one without the other. It's not just about increasing your income. It's about controlling your outgo. It's not what you earn. It's what you keep. Now, I've met people who earn $100,000 a year and they're in debt. And I've met people who earn $35,000 and they're comfortable saving and sleeping well at night. How is that possible? It's called discipline. Discipline is the bridge between thought and accomplishment, between intention and success, between desire and destiny. If you don't discipline your spending, no amount of income will ever be enough. The problem isn't the paycheck, it's the philosophy. Here's a question. If you got a 10% raise tomorrow, would that solve your money problems or just increase your spending? See, wealth is not a function of income. It's a function of behavior. The 70-30 rule. Let me share a formula I've taught for years. It's simple, powerful, and it works. I call it the 70-30 rule. Here's how it works. Every time you earn $1, divide it into 3 categories before you ever spend it. 70% for necessity. That's rent, food, transportation, bills. 10% for charity. Give back, make a difference, bless others. 10% for savings, your emergency fund, your future cushion. 10% for investing, your wealth-building money-making machine. Now you might say, "Jim, I can't live on 70% of my income." Then I say, we need to work on 2 things: reduce your spending and increase your income. But the formula stays the same. Because the secret to wealth is not just how much you make, but how much you keep and what you do with what you keep. The trap of lifestyle. Inflation. Let me warn you about something that's destroyed more fortunes than bad investments. It's called lifestyle inflation. What's that? It's when your income goes up and your expenses go up with it. You get a raise, and instead of saving, you upgrade your car. You make a big commission, and instead of investing, you book a luxury vacation, and just like that, you're back at zero. Let me tell you, just because you can afford it doesn't mean you should buy it. Discipline now creates freedom later. Learn to delay gratification. Learn to say no today so you can say yes tomorrow. Learn to live modestly while you build massively. Learn the game of money. One of the biggest reasons people spend more than they make is because they don't understand money. They were never taught how to budget, how to invest, how to plan. They're financially literate the way I was when I started, clueless. That's why I encourage people to study money. Make it your friend, learn its language, read books on personal finance, take courses on budgeting and investing. Listen to mentors who've built wealth honestly. Because once you understand money, you stop fearing it and you start respecting it. Wealth is a decision. Now hear me on this. Wealth is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. If you want to be wealthy, act like a wealthy person acts. What do? They track their expenses. They live below their means. They invest consistently. They delay pleasure for a greater reward. You don't have to be rich to start building wealth. You just have to start with $5, with $50, with a habit, with a plan. The goal is not to look rich. It's to be rich. Final thought. So let me ask you, friend, are you living above your means or below them? Are you chasing temporary pleasures or building lasting freedom? Remember this rule for life. It's not what you earn, it's what you manage. Start small. Start today. Build the habit. Build the discipline. And soon enough, you'll be amazed at how much peace, power, and prosperity you've built simply because you chose to follow rule number 3. Don't spend more than you make. Now let's talk about rule 4. And this one has saved more people from financial disaster than any get-rich-quick scheme ever will. Invest in what you understand. Seems simple, right? But you'd be surprised how many folks hand over their hard-earned money to things they don't even begin to grasp, all because someone promised them a fast return. I'm going to say something that might surprise you. Wealth is not built by gambling. It's built by understanding. Understanding turns a risk into a calculated move. Understanding turns confusion into confidence. You've got to know what your money is doing, where it's going, how it works, and what it brings back. The danger of blind investing. Now let me paint you a picture. You're walking down the street and someone says, "Hey, give me $10,000, I'll double it in 6 months." Don't worry about how, just trust me. Would you do it? Of course not. But when it's a fancy website or a charismatic pitchman in a suit, too many people say yes. That's not investing. That's speculating. That's gambling. And wealth is not built on chance. It's built on choice. I'm not saying don't invest. I'm saying don't invest blindly. You wouldn't hire a chauffeur who doesn't know how to drive. Why would you trust someone with your money who doesn't even explain where it's going? Invest in your circle of competence. Now let me share a golden principle. Stay in your circle of competence. What does that mean? It means invest in what you know, what you use, what you understand. Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time, says the same thing. Never invest in a business you cannot understand. You run a bakery? Maybe you understand the food business. You're a software engineer? Then look into tech startups. You use a product every day and believe in the company? That's a start. If it makes sense to you, you're already ahead of 90% of the market. When you invest in what you know, you make smarter decisions, you spot trends, you feel confident, and you sleep at night. Education before speculation. Let me tell you what comes before investment. Education. The best investment you can make, especially early on, is in yourself. Read the books, watch the experts, learn the basics, understand assets, understand liabilities, know the difference between an index fund and a stock, between real estate and real risk. Because when you're educated, you're empowered. Don't be lazy with money. Money is too important to wing it. I tell people, if you don't take the time to learn, you'll pay the price to lose. So before you put your money into anything, put your time into learning about it. Diversify, but don't drown. Now here's another important lesson. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, but don't put them in 50 baskets either. A diversified portfolio spreads risk, but a scattered portfolio invites confusion. You don't need to be in everything. Just be solid in a few things. Maybe a mix of index funds, some real estate, a business you understand, or even a side hustle that grows into something big. Just make sure you know what each investment is, how it works, and what your plan is for it. Don't follow trends, follow principles, the power of patience. Now let me tell you, wealth doesn't come in a flash. It comes in seasons. It takes patience, persistence, and principle. The get-rich-quick crowd is always in a hurry, but the real wealthy people, they're patient. They plant seeds. They water them. They wait. And over time, those seeds grow into forests. That's the power of long-term thinking. You don't need to double your money overnight. You need to double your discipline every day. Small investments made consistently can grow into fortunes, but only if you're wise and only if you understand. Final thought. So let me ask you, where is your money going? And do you truly understand it? Are you building wealth or just following hype? Rule 4 is simple but powerful. Invest in what you understand. It will save you from regret. It will protect you from hype. And most importantly, it will put you in control of your own financial destiny. So take the time, do the homework, ask the questions, read the fine print, build your knowledge before you build your portfolio. Because when you understand your investments, you're not just investing money. You're investing with confidence. Now we come to the final rule. Rule 5. Be generous and grateful. Let me tell you something important. Wealth is not just about accumulation. It's about appreciation and contribution. You don't want to be rich and empty. You want to be rich and fulfilled. I've known people with millions in the bank, but poverty in their heart. And I've known folks with little, yet full of joy, because they gave, because they appreciated life. You see, wealth without gratitude is arrogance. Wealth without generosity is selfishness. But when you combine prosperity with thankfulness and giving, that's when you truly become wealthy. The law of giving and receiving. There's a law in the universe. Call it spiritual, call it practical, call it whatever you like. And it goes like this. What you give comes back. Not always from the same place, not always the same way, but it comes back. You sow kindness, you reap connection. You sow generosity, you reap abundance. Giving isn't losing. Giving is sowing. And the more generous you become, the more capacity you build to receive, to grow, to expand. Now, I'm not saying give it all away. That's not smart. But I am saying, if you've been blessed, be a blessing. Give a portion. Help someone in need. Support a cause you believe in. Share your knowledge. Share your time. Share your experience. You see, the ultimate purpose of wealth is not just to live better. It's to help others live better, too. Gratitude turns success into fulfillment. Gratitude is the attitude that takes your success from just achievement to deep fulfillment. It reminds you of how far you've come. It keeps your ego in check. It keeps your joy alive, no matter how high you climb. People ask me, Jim, how do I stay motivated? I tell them, be thankful every day. Thankful for your health, thankful for your opportunities, thankful for your mentors, thankful for your lessons. When you wake up with gratitude, your day starts with purpose. When you end your day with gratitude, you sleep with peace. Gratitude multiplies joy, and joy, that's real wealth. Don't just count your money, count your blessings. Now let me remind you of something powerful. You can count your bank balance every day, but it won't fill your heart. Start counting your blessings, and you'll feel rich long before you're rich. Do you have someone who loves you? You're rich. Do you have food on your table? You're blessed. Do you have the freedom to build a better life? That's wealth. And when you remember that, you walk different, you talk different, you lead different. You don't need to wait until you're a millionaire to be grateful. In fact, the people who are most grateful now are the ones who become wealthy later. Why? Because gratitude attracts opportunity. Gratitude opens doors. Gratitude makes people want to work with you. It's a magnet. The generosity compass. Let your wealth have direction. Let your wealth have impact. When you earn more, give more. When you learn more, teach more. When you grow more, lift others. Generosity doesn't shrink your wealth, it expands your legacy. Think about the people who changed the world. They were givers. They gave time. They gave money. They gave encouragement. They gave vision. So don't just build a bank account, build a ripple, build a legacy. Let your success echo in someone else's life. Final thoughts. The full circle of wealth. Let me summarize this final rule for you. Earn wisely, spend carefully, invest smartly, grow consistently. But most of all, live generously and gratefully. Because when you give, you're not just giving money, you're giving meaning. And when you're grateful, you're not just thankful for what you have, you're attracting more of what you want. That's the full circle of wealth. Money is a tool, gratitude is the foundation, and generosity is the expression. Follow these 5 rules, and you won't just build wealth. You'll build a life of richness, depth, and purpose. That's what Jim Rohn believed. That's what I'm passing on to you. Now go live it.